Yes, gather round. Tonight's sent in from someone who we're calling Colin.
Hey.
Nothing's happened.
That's hilarious, apparently.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not really
You're
a name.
easily
I've worked it out now.
pleased.
You're not really called Colin. Carry on.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I feel the need to confess to an incident dating back to the late 80s, Father Simon. I was studying photography at college in a major city north of the border and in the final year of my course. The number of students had dwindled, and this allowed us access to the studio facilities based in an old gymnasium situated on the roof of a 14-storey building. You can draw a little map if you want for this. Well, Father Simon, one day we noticed workmen had entered our exclusive habitat. And on further investigation, we discovered they were actually there to undertake insulation services. This involved the use of small polystyrene balls, millions of them. In fact, the bags that they'd been brought up in the service lifts were huge, and we're talking 6 foot by 4 foot bags of polystyrene balls. We came up with an idea for what we believe is performance art.
Yeah.
Instantly
Yeah.
interested in what's going to happen here. And so the plan was hatched. Being based in the roof, we had obviously done a little bit of exploring, and as such had found that the room above the main lifts that served the aforementioned 14 floors, this included the classic access via the roof hatch to the lifts. And having been there for 3 years, we'd worked out how to get the lifts to bypass all the floors and go straight to the ground. Very handy at lunch or at the end of the day, when it would save a good 10 minutes, allowing us to get to the bar quicker. So as Matt has probably guessed, not sure why Matt would have guessed as opposed to anyone else, one lunchtime, the centre lift of 3 was stopped by us using our special controls and filled via the roof hatch with all the polystyrene balls that we could find. Bag after bag after bag after bag after bag. For the curious out there, that we used a long pole and a bit of gaffer tape, which allowed us to use the stop-go switch to be activated when we were ready to send the lift down. But we would only send the lift down when it was full to the brim of polystyrene balls. Timing with these things is everything. So 12:55 seemed to be about right, when dozens of students would be in the main foyer, all waiting for the lifts to take them back to class. And so the lift was sent. The scene that followed was difficult to describe, but the people in the foyer, who were pushing and shuffling forward as the lights of the lift counted down to ground level, were, to say the least, surprised when the lift door opened and the mayhem commenced. The first couple of rows of people were instantly vanished completely in a sea of white balls, with the ones behind ending up waist deep. Others obviously had the survival gene and ran screaming from the lift, not knowing what they were being attacked by. As you can imagine, the balls were everywhere, millions and millions of the little blighters, instantly finding their way into all corners of the ground floor, and indeed out of the main doors. It doesn't take much of a breeze to allow these little fellas to travel at great speed and great distance, and so the carnage spread down the street to the main square, the train station and beyond. Plus, due to static electricity, these balls stick to your hair, your skin and your clothes, with hilarious consequences, as you can imagine. As mentioned before, being photography students, because this was performing art, we had access to video cameras, these being positioned in the foyer, allowing us various and repeated views of the carnage that followed. This almost led to our downfall, with the list of culprits being small. A few of us were summoned to the college principal's office. However, unity is a wonderful thing, and total denial from us all led to a clean getaway from a certain punishment. Upon exit of the Big Cheese's office, we were then summoned to another office, this time the head of the department, who pointed out that he had checked the store logs and knew who had booked out all the video cameras. It seemed the universal denial was not going to work this time, and we prepared for the worst. But denial wasn't going to work. It transpired that he had been at the back of the queue waiting for the lift and was now fighting back tears of laughter and demanded his own copy of the video. He was kind of on our side. So as far as forgiveness is concerned, I'm not really sure I want any, really, as it was and still is one of the funniest things I have ever seen. But I do feel that the unexpected trauma inflicted on the unfortunate souls who were too keen to return to class and were standing at the front of the queue might not have appreciated our performance art. But if any forgiveness is forthcoming, I would like it to be from the street cleaners of this fine city, who undoubtedly had a nightmare trying to clean up after us. We did not at any point imagine the mass escape of thousands of polystyrene balls that took place. It was, in fact, weeks before the last of them were no longer being spotted in the streets. It's the kind of thing that a number of people will understand based on just on the maybe they've got a beanbag at home, a poof. Do we still call them a poof? Which you put your feet on? Anyway, and the zip comes undone, and you've lost a few hundred, and you'll never ever find them ever again. Anyway, imagine that, but it's a whole lift's worth. Colin, I'm not sure about performance art at the best of times, but anyway, this sounds quite fun. What do you think, Sister Rebecca?
It does sound like a lot of fun. Can you imagine if you knew that it was happening and you just jumped into the lift like in one of those soft play things and bounced around with all those balls? Really good fun. But for the people, the unsuspecting people, I do feel a bit sorry for them because they were obviously terrified, and especially for the street cleaners. I know he does feel guilty about that, but that must have been a nightmare. However, I think it was a great jape and it was a great idea, so I'm going to forgive.
Forgiveness for the first... OK, what do we think about that, Novice?
Father Simon, I think it was a fantastic wheeze, and it was a cool thing to do, I think. And also, as well, I think I tell you who was cool was the head of department, photography department. I thought he was fantastic the way he dealt with it, or she dealt with it.
Yes.
Or, I think it was he. But no, brilliant. I'm still amazed how many of them could have escaped into the street. But as you say, I suppose
Only
it
needs
was
a slight breeze and they're gone.
They are. They are little lightweight devils. But great, Colin. Well done to you. I know it's not your real name, but I definitely forgive you. Very funny.
Just to fool everybody, it might actually be a real Colin. You never know.
Oh,
Yeah.
double bluff.
What do you think there,
So
Brother Matthew?
obviously, I mean, if this video clip had been available, it would definitely have gone viral. But his question about whether it's performance art, yes, it is performance art, because let's face it, anything is performance art. If you put an egg in a blender and press on, that apparently is performance art. Call it futility of hope, and there you go. It's performance art. Give me an award.
There was a guy who was nominated for the Turner Prize a few years ago who poured a bottle of water down a mountain and filmed it.
There you go.
That was performance
and
art.
that is performance art. So for that, I am going to forgive.